Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. For those of you who are new to our channel, welcome. We are Indiana and Ayuranta, a happily married couple. Our channel is a varied one due to our adventurous nature. We document our happy adventures during our stay at our log-built home, which stands in the middle of the Swedish forest. While at the Swedish homestead, we show you the progress of the renovation of this beautiful 1800 wooden house with its many outbuildings. All work is done on a shoestring, with a man under it. His name is Indiana Jones, aka Philippou, aka Ose Rinpoche, depending who you talk to. When not working on the buildings, we take you on river trips and overnight camping adventures while we sleep beside the most beautiful rivers. Absolutely. Under star-lit skies. Or the midsummer sun. While we swing in hammocks from trees. We also take you along while we travel through England and Wales, where we visit interesting villages, castles, ruins, or we go in search of crop circles and beings of light. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button. Like our videos and push that notification bell so you don't miss our future happy adventures. It doesn't cost anything. Feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear from you. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In this vlog we are going to take you on our journey and tell you our story about how we bought an almost 200-year-old log home in the Swedish forest. Only upon arrival we could not find it. Had we been conned? When I lost my health and became bedbound, with the medical experts giving me a small chance for improvement of symptoms, we decided we needed to make a big change. in the hope that it would help me to go from this to this. Please subscribe to our channel if you like to follow us on our journey through life. See how we transform a derelict house on a shoestring, break into our own house, defend ourselves to unwanted visitors, come to love Swedish auctions, how we renew our vows in a DIY shop, see our most wonderful Swedish friends who warmly welcomed us into their heart and into their country. But most of all, don't miss how we land ourselves in prison. Before I share our story, how we bought this wonderful wooden cabin in the woods, which looked tremendously neglected and in a really bad way. Let's first put the kettle on. Make yourself a nice cuppa while you settle in and listen to our story. For those of you who are new to our channel, we are Ose and Ariranta from the Happy Life Show. After I had been bedbound for 5 years, we knew we had to make a change, in the hope that we could turn things around and change me from this to the happy this. After doing an online search, we ended up finding a beautiful homestead in the middle of nowhere in the forest of Sweden. Ose said, "Don't worry about all the work that needs to be doing. I'm a builder and I can get it all back in working order again." So we bought it online unseen. The process of buying in Sweden was very easy. There is no need for solicitors and there is hardly any red tape. You just agree with the seller the amount you want to buy the house for, and after signing papers, the house is yours after it has been registered in the land registry in Sweden. The beautiful natural wildness of Sweden made that we had high hopes that it would improve my health. And we also desired to make Sweden our permanent home as soon as this is possible. Seeing the wildlife, of course, this one from a very safe distance, is something we really looking forward to. After it was all official, it was time for Ose to go and see the house, which we had bought just from photos online and through email correspondence with the seller. So we booked everything and he needed to take the train, ended up in the wrong place, had to quickly bus back to Heathrow Airport. And by that time he thought, well, I've missed my flight. But no, miracles happen. The flight was delayed and there it was. Ose could still catch his flight to Stockholm. Because his flight was delayed by an hour, Ose thought, well, I have missed my next flight. But what happened is they wait. They know there's a passenger on its way, and the small airplane that would bring him to the north of Sweden was waiting for him on the runway. After he landed in the north of Sweden, he picked up the hired car that was waiting for him and made his way to the area where the house is situated. After a few hours' drive, he made camp in the woods. After a beautiful sunrise, Jose was ready to start his second day of searching. So far, he was unable to locate the house. After making himself a breakfast, he was ready to go and get back onto the road. After driving the road up and down for a few times, there was no sign of the house. The problem was, although we had been given the number of the country road nearest to the property, this road turned out to be almost 200 kilometers long. It felt like searching for a needle in a haystack. By this time, Jose started to wonder, have we been conned? Do I need to make the phone call and tell Ariranta that the money is gone and there is no house? Being the champion he is, he was unwilling to give up, so he continued to search and drove the road over and over again, until it was time to call it a day and make a new camp in the woods. Camping under such a beautiful night sky, experiencing the wilderness and the wildlife in Sweden, increased Jose's desire to make this beautiful country our home. But after 2 long days searching, he started to worry. Did he have to make that call and give Ariranta the bad news that the place we bought did not exist? After each searching day, Jose spent the nights under the most beautiful star-filled skies. Growing up in the valleys of Wales, where he spent most of his time on the mountains, being one with nature made Indiana feel well at home in Sweden. Unwilling to give up and letting go of the dream to restore Ariranta's health and take her for long walks through the beautiful forest, he was determined to do another search. After making himself a good breakfast, he was ready for a new day. We had put all our eggs in one basket in the hope that Sweden could deliver the miracle we needed to restore my health to the point at which I could walk again. And who knows, maybe even walk a part of Kungsleden Trail. After a good night's sleep, Jose bought himself a nice cup of coffee and got some petrol and was ready for a new day of searching. Again, Jose noticed a small sign by the side of the road reading Til Salut. Despite being convinced that it wasn't the right place because the name we were given was something completely different and not Til Salut, he decided to turn onto the track and check it out in the hope someone would be able to help him with some directions. And suddenly, there it was, right in front of him. He recognized the buildings from the pictures sent by the seller. It was there. Needless to say, Jose was over the moon that he didn't need to place that phone call to Ariranta. He spent the next few days exploring the land around the house, looking at the buildings, and just trying to make it a little bit ready for when he would bring Ariranta over. It was very derelict. The house had been lying there, standing there, unloved for decades. He already determined that this would become Phil's gym. Wherever Jose goes, he makes sure he does his exercises and he uses whatever he gets his hands on. If there is no official gym equipment, he just uses the farm equipment from the last century that was lying around. And looking around, Jose knew this was everything, even more than we ever could have dreamt of. After cleaning up for a few days, he had a good wash before he started making his way back to England, so he could show Ariranta the photos he had taken, but also to prepare for the difficult journey of transporting Ariranta to their new home in Sweden.
Every time I'm down, yeah, you make me smile. You're the solution.
Transporting me back to Sweden would be a whole undertaking due to the fact that I was unable to sit unsupported. Jose was very motivated to get me back into that healthy environment and booked a trip over sea and land instead of airplane. We booked into a cruise, which made that we had to stay over 2 nights, which was a wonderful change after lying in a bed behind the same window for 5 years. I couldn't use the facilities, only spent the time in the cabin, but it still felt like a wonderful holiday. And after the ship stopped in Kristiansand to disembark some passengers, the ship continued its journey to Sweden. After 2 nights, we finally arrived in Gothenburg. I enjoyed the sights while Jose drove us from Gothenburg to the northern part of Sweden. And we stopped in many places just to make sure that my body didn't get any extra stress. But wow, what a country, Sweden. The beauty is just way beyond what I could have imagined. Camped out in the night. And enjoyed the sunset. Extremely beautiful. Each morning after a beautiful sunset, we continued our drive further up north. Before making the trip, my brothers in Holland arranged a special wheelchair for me to make it possible to experience the beautiful landscape and wildlife in Sweden. We also bought a really old camper van, which we called Bessie. This place is so beautiful, you really have trouble catching it to show you guys. It's also a feeling more than anything. And no, this man does not have a super. This man is fishing. And he caught a really big fish. During his first visit, Jose had prepared one room, that at least one room was tidy and usable for Ayrand at the rest. And sleep at night, of course. But instead of being in a bedroom, like the last 5 years, now it was possible for me to lie outside. Wherever Jose was doing something, he made sure there was a bed nearby, so he could keep an eye on me, help me when needed, and I could breathe in fresh air. Finally, after living our life for 5 years in a bedroom, an online search led us to beautiful Sweden. We took the risk in buying this gorgeous derelict property, unseen, sailing for 3 days and 2 nights from Newcastle to Gothenburg, followed by an almost week traveling up to the northern part of this amazing country. We arrived at our future home looking for a miracle. I like to address thieves who break into cabins, including ours. When watching vlogs about cabin living and renovations, one subject seems to be missing: burglars. Many people show the upside of owning a cabin in Sweden, in the Swedish forest, and rightfully so. It is a wonderful possibility of living in nature while surrounded by the most beautiful scenery. There is another side to living in a remote place. Our vlogs show our cabin in the most positive light, and in that it is no exception. But the cabin being located in a remote area brings a downside. Because it stands so isolated, the nearest hamlet is 5 kilometers away, means that we have no neighbors who could keep an eye on our property while we spend time away from the cabin. So, what happened? What do we know about break-ins? Ever since buying our lovely Swedish property, Indiana often told me to expect someone to enter our home during our absence. Although I heard Indiana's words, I chose to believe this would just not happen. Surely not in Sweden. Not in such a wonderful environment. How wrong was I? When we bought our beautiful homestead in this remote part of Sweden, it turned out that my wishful thinking was just that. Wishful thinking. My naivety crushed down, forming a puddle of disappointment around my feet, where it met my heartfelt tears. The way we went about buying this cabin in Sweden shows how much trust I put in people. I truly wanted to believe that most people are good and honest and respect others' property. There are no words to express how I felt when Indiana's prediction came true. People did break into our home and help themselves to all sorts of our belongings. Maybe there is a reason that nobody seems to address break-ins in all the vlogs on YouTube about cabins in the woods. This downside that surely has to be present when buying a remote cabin in the forest. Maybe it is common sense to expect this to happen. Maybe most people already know that it is just a matter of time before someone breaks into their cabin. After a stay in England, we returned to our Swedish cabin, which was built around 1850 in a typical Swedish style. Red logs, wide windowsills, beautifully situated standing on a hill, lifting it above the river that runs nearby, while standing in lush green forest. The forest covers 70% of Sweden and is home to plenty of wildlife, and chances to spotting a moose is relatively high, especially during hunting season when they seem to come close and walk over our property. We have been told it lessens the chance of them being shot by hunters. Especially young moose are known to wander close to our property, and we have been told stories by the locals about moose and deer entering their village. And even a bear has been seen running behind someone on their bike. Finding that glass from a smashed window on that fateful, warm, bright afternoon ended my naivety. In high spirits, after unlocking the gates at the end of our drive, we drove up to the cabin, where we walked up the steps leading onto the porch. And it was there that we were confronted by a heap of shards. The front door still securely locked, but the window frame besides it was missing its glass. Me, still hoping an animal had taken shelter in our home. Upon entering, it was clear. People had made their way into our home. The disappointment I felt was unreal. To be confronted with the reality that there are people walking this planet who think it is okay to enter a property and help themselves to whatever takes their fancy. That was hard to swallow. I mean, Indiana and I are not rich people, far from it. The only reason we can call us owners of this cabin and its outbuildings is due to the fact that it was close to being derelict and that it stood empty for such a long time due to locals not wanting to take it on because of its sheer size. The cabin will be a lifelong project, with all the work being done by Indiana and on a shoestring. We have no plans to renovate it to full modern standards. We like, and have to, keep our bills as low as possible to be able to afford living at the cabin on our pensions. This means we have to find ways to make the cabin livable and live our life without spending lots of money. When we leave the house, we store all the tools that we do have away from the house in a secure place. We don't leave anything of value in the cabin. But of course, not many people know this, including these thieves. The thieves clearly had taken their time in the house. We know this because the chairs around the kitchen table were pulled back, just as when people do to sit down. One chair was still nicely tucked beneath the table, just as we left it, while the three others were clearly moved. The thieves obviously felt very comfortable being in our house as if knowing nobody would come to confront them. Upon leaving, they took some random items. For example, our water buckets were gone, cutlery, clothes, plates, salad bowls, soup bowls, an oil lamp, a clock that hung outside from the porch, and they had to use a screwdriver to remove it, a radio, and many, many more cheap stuff, all gone. Even months later, sometimes we were looking for something and thought, hey, didn't we have this? Or where did that go? And only then realizing, right, okay, it now lives somewhere else. It still boggles my mind. Was somebody filling their loppies? Even they stole a door. Yes, you heard that right. A door. They took the door from one of the bedrooms upstairs from its hinges and took it with them. While taking it, they probably moved it over the balcony because the balcony, the fence around the balcony, was broken. Indiana thinks somebody might have hurt themselves. That might explain why they stopped. Somebody else must have been busy taking a door handle from another door downstairs. But maybe they liked the look of it. I'm not sure. It being old, maybe it was worth something. But for an unknown reason, but Jose thinks somebody fell down the balcony with maneuvering the door, because don't get it wrong, those doors from the 1850s were super heavy. In those days they still made things to last. But seriously, who steals a 173-year-old door? Surely only someone who sells antiques or is renovating a cabin in the surrounding area, somewhere deep in the forest, and in need of a door? Your guess is as good as mine. After cleaning up the mess, it took me a while to shake off the feeling of being unsettled, unsafe even. The idea that others, strangers, had been in and through our home left a ghost. And it made me feel uncomfortable for quite a few days, until I took the power back and determined not to give those kind of people the power over my feelings and my enjoyment of being at the cabin. Being burgled forced us to take more drastic measures to keep the same or future thieves out. Until we decided to stay permanently in Sweden, Indiana decided to barricade the easiest accessible windows for now. And he did that by using trees from our forest and metal plates lying around in the barn. He also welded a security bar behind both big entrance doors, although this time the burglars had been unsuccessful to break through these doors. We also installed security cameras inside and outside the house. There is also an ear-deafening alarm that goes off. But who is going to hear that when it goes off? We can only hope that the sound makes it so unbearable for the thieves that they are forced to leave, preferably without any of our stuff. The downside of all these security measures is that when we ended up locking ourselves out, we had great difficulty getting back in. Luckily enough, Indiana isn't called Indiana for nothing. You deserve a cup of tea.
Only €63 could do that.
Yeah.
We can do it out like this.
An upstairs window, still open to air the bedroom, made it possible for Indiana to get back into our amazing cabin. Don't be put off by this story. Just be aware and accept the fact that people will try to break in if you're not there on a daily basis. I was unwilling to accept this fact, but now I know better. Okay, I want to say thank you to all our subscribers and ask those who haven't subscribed yet to please subscribe to our channel. It's so motivating to see new subscribers join our clan. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and please click like, that's also very good for our channel. Until the next vlog, thank you for watching. Bye!
What, on that side or that side?
On the side we have for the boat. You know where we got the boat from? Is it?
If there's some serious baking going on,
Bacon.
yeah, and you don't want the cake to fall apart, right? Yeah, I have made an alarm system.
Got it.
If somebody is baking a cake in there, they can give somebody an alarm.
Oh, like baking a poopy cake.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Ladies' bathroom. And we have a special bathroom for men where they can do their wee-wee. It is there. Look. We have created.
This one you do it straight again.
Look. To wash your hands.
This my 6-inch little door lock. Like that, something.
Wow. The speed of that.
We show you our very derelict cabin, which we bought in the beautiful Swedish forest.
For a minute, so I can be brave. Let me catch my breath. Now I can feel.
It includes a storehouse and many other outbuildings.
On the edge. You make me
Beauty abounds in the sweeping wilderness of Sweden. It is no exaggeration to say that Sweden is one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
love you for
It is home to 29 national parks and 100,000 lakes. About 70% of Sweden is covered with forest.
nobody.
Finding a log cabin for sale without the internet would have been a big task.
Promise you. Time goes by, oh precious.
Having a home to retreat to, which stands in the middle of the forest of Sweden, knowing we can spend time in such a tranquil environment, enhanced our quality of life beyond what we had hoped for.
Would you stay for a minute so I can be brave? Let me catch
Everyone can buy a log cabin in Sweden.
what I'm saying.
There is no need to be a Swedish citizen or have a Swedish personal ID number. This was the state of our home when we first bought it. Somebody asked us once, are you not daunted by the prospect of all the work that needs doing? But no, we loved it. It was love at first sight. After we arrived in Gothenburg for the first time, the further we drove up north, the more we fell in love with Sweden. When farmers and peasants were allowed to buy and own land, our cabin was built, and it functions as an inn to provide shelter for travelers, especially during the Arctic winters. Times were hard in Sweden during the time our cabin was built. Famine swept the nation and resulted in 1.5 million out of 3.5 million people to immigrate. That is almost half of the entire population. Just imagine. Our cabin was built during these times, 1850, when life expectancy was under 40 years. Today, women in Sweden up to 84. What a difference. In 2017, Sweden's population exceeded 10 million for the first time. But the best part of the area where we bought our cabin is that we share every square kilometer with 2.7 people. Wow, no wonder we love it so much. Compare that with our home in England. There we have to share a square kilometer with 434 people. Long live Sweden!
I ain't never felt the kind of love like this before. You took all the worries from my mind. Darling, please forgive me if I stare a little more. I can't look away from those brown eyes. And if we settle down, we don't have to settle down. Please don't be afraid of all the things that could go wrong. We can take our time.
Now let me show you the house. Here you see the photos as we bought the house, and it was truly love at first sight. The trees were growing up against the house, and so much wood was rotten, but still we wanted it. We knew this was the place. We just knew we could transform it, love it again, as it deserved to be loved. But before that could happen, the transformation had to wait until we would fix the leaks in the roof, which was one of the first jobs Indiana tackled. After felling some trees, Indiana built himself a ladder. to reach the big hole in the roof. And burn the tremendous amount of rubbish, which resulted the fire brigade turning up on our drive. Our house had been standing empty for decades, and in Sweden, people look at the sky in search of smoke to protect their own homes. And seeing the smoke coming from the area where nobody was living means somebody called the fire brigade, and they came. Only to find Indiana having a big fire going. Okay, Indiana, what are you doing?
Put the scaffolding up and do things on the roof.
You do not get any idea of the size of this wood he is working with. Yeah, where did we get those pulleys from?
We bought them up in Wickham. Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, in a second-hand shop. Well done, eh? That we bought them. I think somebody wanted to leave them there.
Always careful with money.
Okay, your tea is brewing.
Thank you.
And he has to do all that to fix that. You see, that's rotten. And the plank underneath doesn't look too smart either. Wow, that's over 6 foot tall, mate.
It is, yeah.
Cause you know the world is beautiful, so beautiful.
While you're walking here, look, there's fruit for free everywhere. They are wild raspberries. Wow. They are small, but so full of flavor.
Cause you make the world so beautiful, so beautiful.
All those trees here had to be cut years ago because they were growing way too close to the house. But as you can see, they just grow back. This is the house that is facing the road. It used to be a farm. It used to be an inn, Travelers Inn. These windows, the little sitting room, same as there.
But you came round and turned it upside down. You saved me when I was helpless, but now that darkness gone. Cause you know
There is where we sleep at the moment, is our cinema, a huge room. Which looked like this and now looks like this. And the last window there is our workshop. And upstairs is also a big bedroom. There was no room upstairs, just one big open space. So Indiani created a wall and created a bedroom, which is still a work in progress. Pretty lovely here, as you can see. And then suddenly these two moose appear out of our woods. This is only, I'm just estimating, 50 meters from the window from which I filmed this quickly. As you can see, autumn was setting in, and we have been told by the Swedish people that as soon as hunting season starts, which is around August, September in Sweden, the moose come closer to where people live because the hunters are not allowed to shoot near residences for obvious reasons. And they slowly cross over our field filled with raspberry bushes. We think they were making their way to the river that runs on the other side of our house beyond the road. Wonderful. If you want to follow along with us and see how we transform the house and all our other adventures in Sweden or in England, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we see you next time. Bye!